Woman buys a diamond ring at a stall in order to marry a rich man. When she went out with the rich kid, she deliberately said that the ring was her mother's legacy to emphasize that the ring was very important to her. So she purposely lost the ring while playing in the sea, and then she disguised herself as the ring left by her mother, who would rather find the ring in the sea. In this way, she disguised herself as a filial child. The ultimate goal was to get the rich kid to help her find the ring and keep him overnight. Annie used the meaningless ring to create a sad story for herself. Not having found the ring her mother left for her, she felt like she was cut off from her only connection with her mother, like she was living alone in the world. At this point, Jack, who had already fallen into the emotional trap created by Annie, rushed to tell Annie that you still have me and I won't let you live alone. That's what she's trying to accomplish. But then Annie becomes a woman with a heart of gold, because Annie's status as an orphan and a poor woman makes it impossible for her to marry into a wealthy family. When Jack's mother and grandmother find out that Jack's friend who was going to get married is Annie, they start to investigate Annie. On the surface, Annie appeared beautiful, dignified and polite, but that's not what Lisa wants. She liked money, so she wanted a rich girl at the very least. But it turned out that Annie was not only an orphan, but she didn't even go to college and had nothing to do with money. But Annie wasn't fazed. Lisa didn't know that she had fallen into a trap designed by Annie. Annie knew that if she wanted to marry into a rich family, she had to get Jack to do whatever it took for her and even cut off her parents. So Annie deliberately gave Lisa her address. And Lisa, with her mother in tow, came straight to Annie's door, threatening her with force. Lisa didn't know that the moment she rang the doorbell, Annie dialed Jack's number and left it on the phone for Jack to listen to. Annie screams as she was mercilessly beaten by her mother and grandmother. Annie's screams were deliberately horrendous. It broke Jack's heart. When Jack arrived, he looked at Annie and felt so guilty and angry at what his mother and grandmother had done to her. That's what Annie wanted. Jack took Annie back to the mansion and announced his intention to marry her in front of her parents and her grandfather, and scolded her mother for trying to prevent his marriage to a poor, kind orphan girl. But Grandma, in an attempt to clear her name, spoke up and told Lisa what was on her mind. However, this also directly admitted the fact that the mother and daughter had beaten Annie. Annie didn't say a word. In the end, Jack took Annie and left, saying that if he agreed to their marriage, he would come back, and if he didn't agree, he would break off the relationship. Grandpa finally spoke up. He was angry at his daughter-in-law for looking down on people and hurting such a kind and poor girl. The husband also began to accuse Lisa of treating Annie too harshly and decided to make Jack marry Annie. Lisa was so aggrieved that she hadn't even hit Annie in the face that she blamed her mother. She blamed her mother, who had no choice but to tell Lisa to get over it. But she didn't think it was such a bad thing. Annie was an orphan, so Annie didn't have a mother's family. So Annie wouldn't have to send money to her mother's family. And that's when Lisa finally broke down and smiled. Lisa could only agree to Jack and Annie's wedding herself, but Jack's heart was only for Annie. In order for Annie to get along with her mother at home, he asked her to apologize to Annie. Annie even showed her understanding and humility and said she wouldn't take it personally. But in order to please her son, Lisa had to put down her old face and apologize to Annie.